Greetings from Educo International. This is Professor Manmohan Sharma presenting EducoSoft to you. EducoSoft, I'll be covering my presentation in 5 segments, short segments, explaining first of all general features of EducoSoft, then how the content is organized in about 5-10 minutes. Then assessment and creation, I will take most of the time on this part. Then how the assessment reports are created and what information we get. And in the end, how all these things are delivered online and the learning management system. General features. All our content and assessments can be delivered through standalone devices like PCs, tablets, doesn't matter what browser, through local area network, or even through mobile pen drives, and of course online, everything. The most advantageous platform out of these is online, because all the records are saved, you get instant reports and so on, which you cannot get from offline records. Most operating system, we are compatible. For online delivery, no download is required, no installation, just log in and go. It requires, of course, Acrobat Reader, which normally is installed on all devices these days. Otherwise, it's a free install. Customization of the content is our hallmark. So we have a content from grade 1 to a senior secondary school, grade 12, completely aligned with the standard grade-wise curriculum, which can be totally customized in a very short time by our staff, which is located in India, New Delhi, India. Because of the cost factor, we can afford to have them in India. The last point in general features is how do we support? If supposing you are in Ghana and you want to adopt our system, how do we continuously support? Of course, back-end online through email, phone call is okay, but the most effective way that we have designed is as follows. We train local persons for support to local teachers and local students. We invest our time and energy and resources on that person. Either we invite him to India or to US to train him, or one of our trainer will come to that country and train that person, stay there, and develop his reflex actions. And then after that local resource person is established, then our staff will become a resource person or contact person for that. So we train local person for support to local teachers and students, and Educo supports the local support. So that way, we have a chain of support system, but actual support will be provided by the trainee that we have in the local country. So that's how we maintain wherever we go. So this is the general features that is applicable to whatever course we deliver. The content is very powerful that we have, not only what I am claiming, but everybody who sees it, even you will appreciate that when you have the samplers. I'm giving you small samplers. First of all, the content is organized grade-wise, 1 to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 12. If supposing I pick up this thing and 9th grade content, this is the digital table of content, just like textbook, digital table of content, by chapters divided into sections, and each section, or even the next layer, objective level, depending on how the course is designed. Each and every last layer of the content will have tutorials, examples, practice sheet, and so on. So all courses, no matter what grade, and all customization, learning activities, classroom engagement activities, classroom assessment activities, they are all in a complete repository of our entire content. And as soon as we customize the course by selecting particular objective to be covered, all the components of that, tutorials, examples, assessment question, are automatically imported. So therefore, customization of the course not simply means customization of the table of content, but all the components are customized automatically. So, how this content that you saw in the content hierarchy is delivered? What they look like? Small samplers. I won't spend too much time. For example, lecture notes, which are the same thing as tutorials for the students for self-learning, either at home or local labs. And all these learning activities become prerequisite to the formative or continuous assessment that you will see in the later part of my presentation. Lecture notes, how are they presented? The purpose of lecture notes is to empower the teacher in the classroom, to camouflage his weaknesses, defining content comprehension and delivery mechanism, articulation. The way we have presented it, it empowers the teachers, even ordinary teachers, to be very close to one of the best. So how is delivered? For example, the teacher is teaching in the class division of polynomials. It's a cubic and divided by binomial. So the pedagogy is, don't spend too much time on writing and drawing on the board. Use that time for interactivity in the classroom. Ask questions, get respond, and so on. So either you have step by step, and this bar over here, click or press space bar to continue. We call this as instructional pause, for the teachers to stop and discuss, and for the students to understand before he moves next. So either you move step by step, or there's an auto button. You click on that, and all these steps will be popped up one by one, and so on. So let me, to cut short the time, let me explain on the auto. You have a dividend, you have divisor, empty quotient. Starting process is multiply the partial quotient with the divisor using distributive property, write it below the dividend, subtract it, and continue the process. Step by step. I have automated all the steps, otherwise it stops at every step for the teacher to ask question at every stage. So let me go back. Lecture notes, which is the same thing as tutorial for the students. In mathematics, normally, almost in every culture, wherever mathematics is taught, I believe, that the usual pedagogy of teaching in the classroom is that the teacher defines, illustrates, explains, gives some examples, and let the student do the similar example again, and then give some question for them to practice. The same pedagogy, but presented in a different way to empower the teacher and to make it more comfortable. What is that? Lecture notes, examples, and practice. That activity. Lecture notes, you have seen a small sampler. Examples. I picked up only two samplers just to explain the concept behind all the examples that we deliver. Say, for example, you have two parallel lines and a transversal, and you are asked to find the values of A, B, C using a pair of angles property. Now, look at the screen. You have new version, keep on new version. You have so many versions of each and every question. Explain one version in the class, click on new version, let the class do it. Either you explain using your own knowledge, or click on solution and explain step by step, just like tutorials. On the other side, you see this icon, this small keypad. This is not calculator. It's a keypad to enter the answer. For every question, we have created a separate keypad which contains all those symbols that are needed for that particular question. You know, mathematics is a language of symbols. And if you are asking free response assessment, free response questions, you must find a way for the student to enter the answer with all the mathematical symbols at their command. We have it there. And just imagine the type of programming that has gone into this over the last 3 decades. Each and every question screen, and we have unlimited of them in our system, are designed based on what you're saying. So, how to enter this answer? Well, if I have this, the answer to this question, value of A will be supplement of 70 is 110. And B is interior angle on the same side. They add up to, again, they're supplementary. So B is 70, and also it is corresponding to 70. So B is 70. And C is also 70, vertically opposite. So I have responded the values of A, B, and C. Now just see a small illustration how our system disciplines the student for entering the answer. This answer is correct, but not really. Why? Because we have not entered the units. If I click on over here, done, gives a message, what 110? It's not graded wrong, it's only cautioning you that you must enter the unit. So I go back and enter the unit. Degree, degree. And now I click on done. I got the correct message. And now, before I go next, see that if I hide these 2 buttons, new version and solution, then you look at the question. That question becomes a test question for the assessment, and free response, open-ended, you mean, not clicking the choice, enter the answer. So, this question becomes a question in the question bank, free response question in the question bank for assessment. So, let me give one more example. So, we have covered even another aspect of assessment. Normally people say that online assessment is multiple choice, usually, because it's easy to grade. But mathematics teaching or assessing just on multiple choice is not a very smart way to do that. You have 25-30% of the performance can be just by fluke, by picking a choice. What we are focusing more on is what the real-time assessment traditional teachers used to give and how it is automated online. First version you saw in examples, free response. That's one type of assessment. Now this is second, partial grading. One question has 3 parts and each part has 2 points each. So each point has 2 points. Total points of this question are 6 points. This is like you have a printed test paper, first 25 questions are multiple choice questions, last 10 questions are free response, are open-ended. So this is the open-ended part, and that too online. I don't think, my friends, you will see that kind of assessment online anywhere. So we enter the answer, click on this. If 2 are right and 3rd is wrong, you get 4 out of 6. Okay? To save the time from presentation, I hope I have made it clear how this is delivered. Again, this becomes a test question if I hide these and put in the question bank. Next is practice sheet. So the traditional pedagogy of define, explain, illustrate, and then give examples, and then third part is what? Have small practice questions. Click on practice questions. But this is on factoring trinomials with the leading coefficient 1. Normally there are only 5 types of questions in this type of factoring. What is that? When both the critical integers are positive, one is positive, other is negative, both are negative and both are positive. And then take something out common and then factor. All types of questions. Now, teacher can discuss one set of questions in class after explaining factoring. And also click on the new version, click on the new set, new set, new set, new set, click on the new set and let the class do it. And you just walk around. You don't have to waste your time, money and energy to print the practice sheet for the students. You need a projector in a classroom, and this content can be provided offline too, as I said in the beginning. So just present the practice sheet and let the class do it, and you just walk around. So, for example here, I want to enter the answer for the first one. You have here, you have x minus 2, x minus 3. These are the factors. Now the question is, this is the only way to write the factors? It can be minus 2 plus x, minus 3 plus x, or whichever way. So long as the factors are right, the system will grade it right. If I click on check, it's correct. So similarly, if I enter all these questions and in the end I click on submit, so you have not answered this question, do you want to exit? Yes, I want to exit. So I got my score, 1 out of 5 is right, 20%, 1 is correct, and the others are I didn't attempt. So I can click on solution and see how this question is to be done. Again, step-by-step solution. And then unlimited. This is another mode of assessment. We call this as what you call as usually formative assessment or even continuous assessment. As I teach my class factoring trinomials of this kind, the leading coefficient 1, then this practice sheet becomes an assessment also that the students can take online, and all the attempts that he makes are recorded. Remember this new set? How many sets of questions he can practice? Unlimited. New set, new set, new set, new set, unlimited. Let him keep on doing it until the time he gets 100%. So this is, my friend, how the content is organized, and within the organization, each piece of the content, how it is delivered. Next is assessment. Assessment creation and delivery. First of all, question banks. Assessment, of course, depends upon the question bank. What kind of question bank do we have? We have large question bank with all types of questions stored by concept, and each question is identified by a special coding system. We have a huge content repository and a huge question bank repository, and each type of question is tagged with the concept. Each question has several variations, just like you saw in examples, new example, new example, new example. Or practice sheet you saw new set, new set, new set. So each question has several variations. What is the advantage? Questions are the same. Its numbers are changing. It's mathematics, remember? Numbers are changing. So every student in the lab or online will have a different versions of the questions. Same questions, different versions of the questions. This is the most distinct power of our assessment system. Why? Because it takes away, and what is that? Cheating, copying, and so on. So that is almost eliminated in this process, because every student is graded on what they get, and they are not the same that everybody else is getting. So each question has degree of difficulty in our system. You can decide as to what type of audience you are having and what level of questions you should ask in the question. Don't make your judgment call, because human persons are always subjective. Because what is one easy for one teacher may not be easy for the other teacher. So therefore what we do is, The degree of difficulty of the test is based on the degree of difficulty of each and every item. And how do we know that? Our system already has stored the degree of difficulty. How do we create it? How do we create the degree of difficulty? That is, if an item is attempted by 10,000 students all over the world, remember, it's mathematics, is universal. If an item is attempted by 10,000 students in the whole world on EducoSoft, then we know how many students answered this question correctly and how many of them answered incorrectly. That determines the degree of difficulty, which we are tagging along with the question listing. Question, description, degree of difficulty, and so on. So you will see that in a short while. Second part, very important part, all choices for MCQ, multiple choice questions, choices are automatically generated. How is that? Very unique. I'm sure if you're watching this presentation, you'll be surprised. How do we create the choices of the questions? You have seen the examples. Those examples become the FR questions, free response questions. People are responding with actual answers. All those assessments containing those questions, they are responding with actual answers. We are capturing each and every response of every student. And then we are critically examining the frequency of the responses. Who create assessment items, MCQ, how are you sure that they are really making the right kind of choices? The creator or the author of the item will always have subjectivity. And if you're paying them for writing the items, you don't know what quality it is. One is the right choice, others are dummy choices. That makes no sense. Not the way we are doing. No. The choices are real choices based on the errors people make, not a subjective call of any evaluator or any author of the item. So, next is free response questions that you saw in examples, and you have seen it, how every item changes. And what are we doing there? We're just changing the numbers. The item remains the same. Again, it's mathematics. Just change the number, item becomes different. So we have almost unlimited variation of each and every free response question. So my friend, this is the question bank. Huge question bank, large question bank. Next, how is the assessment created? Now this is the parameters setting screen that comes, that setting screen. Assessment title, assessment type, title, who are the recipients, group or all, student mode, category from the gradebook, how they are to be graded, maximum times allowed, how much weightage of this test as compared to other tests in the gradebook, assessment will be taken between these dates or on a selected date at a selected time, and then can take from where? Anywhere online or in a particular lab. Okay, you can restrict that on a particular lab. And score setting, lockdown browser, and this is for online assessment for a real online courses. Okay, you can actually monitor the student taking assessment remotely. We have the system already built in our platform. Lastly, you have select prerequisite. Do you require any student to do something before he comes to the assessment, like studying tutorials, studying homework, and so on and on? Do you require them to do that before they come? So that also teacher can set up. This is settings. After settings, second step is select the topic. What is the assessment going to be on? Select the topic. You have the courses and the topics. Chapter 6 is divided into so many topics. And that topic is selected and dropped over here. This is the selected topic from where the assessment will be created. So, step 1, set up the settings for the assessment. Step 2, select the topics. And step 3, select the questions. You have lists of questions, their concept code as I defined before, description of the item, number of variation of this item, number of attempts, how many times this item was attempted, 3,245 times. How many times it was answered incorrectly, 53% of the time. You can view the item by clicking on view, and also there is an icon for calculator. Do you want to allow the student to use calculator online? Well, yes and no. Maybe in some questions yes, in some questions no. So you select that icon for the question for which you need calculator on screen. For all other things, calculator will be blocked, even from the system. They will not be able to use on screen. If somebody comes to the exam and have calculator in their pocket, we can't control that. But on screen, either we provide it or we shall block it even for the system. So that is there. We select questions, and after that we save the assessment. The whole assessment that you selected is listed here. The question you can browse, and if you don't like some item, you can go back, add and delete questions more, and then you can preview the assessment online, how it looks like, and after that you can save. But before save, maybe you want to print it. You don't have a lab for you to administer the test online. You can print the test. You can print the test in multiple forms, Form A, Form B, Form C, and so on. Okay, and we print saving a lot of space. And then you can print with answer, without answer, and so on and on. Lot of options for printing is provided. So you set the parameters, select the topics, select the questions, and save or print. Usual simple procedure for all types of assessment. Let me go back. Delivery, how the test is delivered. All right. 4 types of assessment. One is continuous while learning through, as I explained before, practice sheets. You saw that under the first button, practice sheet. Those practice sheets can be converted into assessment. For example, this is a practice sheet, the same thing that I discussed, factoring trinomial. You have 6 questions, and how are they to be assigned to the students for doing it? Click here. The teacher can select the option. Select the mode for practice sheet. With solution? No. With check only? That's okay. They can check the answer and change it. Remember, it's not multiple choice. They have to enter the answer. It depends upon that. Test mode, click on test mode. Print practice sheet. Student, teacher can print this practice sheet if they don't have the facility of the lab in their school. They can print the practice sheets. And multiple forms of practice sheet along with the solutions. Have it in the folder and use one of these in the class whenever they feel like, or 2 of these in the same class, or 3 of these in the same class, and so on. You don't want the student to stick on and spend half an hour on 6 questions. No. You estimate, I will give maximum 2 minutes per question to the student. Set the time to 12 minutes. And the assessment will be active only for 10 minutes. So this is a part of continuous teaching and assessment. The assessment part of this thing, we call it a continuous assessment. Every week or after every lecture. Next, formative assessment. Weekly homeworks, weekly quizzes. All right, how do you deliver? This is our learning cycle that we recommend. Any part of this cycle, school or teachers can opt to use. But we are giving this by default. It's up to the teacher or the institution to use it or not to use it, or use it any part of it. What is the format? Usual pedagogy to engage students continuously throughout the course. After every topic that the teacher teaches in the classroom, daily or weekly, they are required to go through the corresponding tutorials and examples as you just saw. They are required to study that. Next part of homework assignment will be active only if they complete this part. So with prerequisite of learning activities, and that instantly gives you the feedback with solution to each and every item, so on. Homework also has a built-in help for the student. Homework is supposed to be peer supported, is a built-in help. So I will explain to you in near next my steps. Next is quiz and test after homework, and this will become active only if they complete the homework. That's the learning cycle. Learn, do your homework with all the help, and take the quiz or a test. In both cases, you get the result page. On the result page, you get a diagnostic. What topic out of the given chapter you missed, and then direct link to the tutorials on that, direct link to the tutorials. But all this data, how many times student attempted the homework, how much time they spent on learning activities, how much time they spent on quiz, all the data, what time they logged in, which browser they used, entire data is completely saved. And if we have that data, then we use that data to create all kinds of information, reports for these teachers, for the administrators, or for the state and school board. The data is there. Creating reports is simple. So you will see what kind of reports we already have, what kind of reports can be generated. Cumulative, a chapter, a midterm evaluation. No, as the word suggests, that will have basically, this is a test screen, sample test screen. You can have multiple choice questions. The number of questions are on the left cell, number of questions. As you are responding, they are listed here, 1, 2, 3, 4 has been responded. This is a real test. So, next question is multiple choice. Next question is free response. You enter the answer, done. It will give you a message, responded. And you can go to the next question, and so on. Next or previous, next or previous. Until the time you submit, you are still active in the test. You can change your answer anytime. You can, in the end, you submit. And when you submit, you get a result page. After every assessment, you get a result page. Whether it's homework, or a quiz, or a summative test, you get a home page. In the result page on the top, how many questions were asked, how many were incorrect, your score, and so on. Along with that, each and every item, which was correct, which was incorrect, and not attempted, all the information. You can click on the solution and actually see what the student responded and what the solution to that question is. This is available to student all the time. Even if the assessment has expired, he can come back to this page anytime, see his performance, and go to solution of each and every question. So these are summative assessments. Next is national test. Very, very important. If you think that your class 10 students or exit students from the school have a national test and they're not performing very well, you want to prepare them. We have a system called Test Prep Login. You can also want to see that. You go online and type in www.educotestprep.com. Educo, EDUCO, TEST, test, PREP, testprep.com. Go to that site, you'll see my videos, how the test is delivered is all listed there. But in brief, this is the test preparation, national test preparation. You can offer that in your country or in your institution, that all the students have an access to this practice before they actually take the test. Or you have a conducted study course to prepare them for the exam in the final year of the school. How that course can be conducted? If you have a particular syllabus of the assessment, from where the assessment will come, you divide the syllabus into 8 chapters, 10 chapters, and so on. The system will diagnose your existing capabilities on each and every chapter. They will assess your capabilities and then prepare a plan of action for you to study, to overcome your deficiencies in what is being diagnosed. Look at that. This is a small student login page after they completed one chapter of that national exam preparation course. Here, chapter overview, chapter diagnostic test. He practices so many times. Practice has a help all the time. A solution to every question and so on. Test doesn't have help. Initially his score was what? 22%. Then, based on this score, the system created a study plan. The performance of the student in each and every topic covered in that chapter is over here. 25%, 40%, 0%, 40%. Then the study plan is created based on that. First, topic by topic or section by section, he has to go through the study notes, watch video, take practice quiz, and then take quiz. Video, practice quiz, and quiz. So, these are the quizzes after studying each and everything. See the increase from 0% to 90%, 25% to 62%, 40% to 80%, and on the whole, at the end, when he takes a chapter mock test, mastery test, at the end, he gets 71%. From 22% to 71%. That is more than 200% jump from where he was when he was initially diagnosed. So that is how we have designed a platform that prepares the student for any national exam, cross country or cross country, across institutions. You can use that platform for that. That is in addition to educasoft.com, that platform. These are various kinds of assessment that we have: delivery mode, continuous assessment, formative like homework, quizzes, learning every week, cumulative, chapter test listing, or national exam preparation. Next, reports. This is one of the reports that I personally like very much. We call it as activity time grade report. We assume that we have followed that cycle of learning, homework, quizzes, and so on. Each student, how much time they spent on tutorial, how much time they spent on ebooks, how much time they spent on videos, how much time they spent on tests, practice tests, homework, and total time spent. And then what is their running average score and what is their grade. And if you see that, on the average, students are spending, these are real data, by the way, of some student, of some instructor, 56 hours, 34 hours, 35 hours, 39 hours, and so on. On the average, we have observed that in 8 to 10 weeks of quarter in American university, student is spending almost on the average 6 to 7 hours a week online. Online, besides other activities, online. So this is one of the report. You see the powerful thing. On top of the report, we have a correlation coefficient between the total time spent by the student and his grade is 0.60. The correlation coefficient R, it varies from -1 to 1. And what it shows here is, this is real data, is 0.60, much more than 0.5. In spite of the fact that certain factors contribute negatively to this correlation, because smarter students spend less time and still get good grade, and slower students spend so much time and still improve a little bit. Those are negative factors. In spite of that, the correlation coefficient is 0.60. That shows that by and large, the more they study online, the better their grade will be. You have several kinds of reports that we have already created. First of all, average by assessment. All the assessments have each and every assessment that the student has taken, their homework, average score this much. You can see the item analysis of that homework. Our score by assessment. all the tests and assessment, no matter what type, continuous, formative, cumulative, whatever type of assessment student has gone through in the entire course, all assessments are listed on one page. And this is like an Excel, master Excel sheet of all the scores. But what is powerful is that every cell is an active cell. You click on that score, you can see how many times student attempted that assessment. How many times student attempted that assessment. And every time his score was what? First his score was 9, 60%, 67%, and you can even review. What is R? R for resume. If a student wants the test to be resumed because he could not attempt 5 out of 15 questions, and the teacher's discretion, teacher logs in and put R, and he can resume the test again to complete it. So all that functionality, my friend, is all built in. Not only that, before I conclude this activity part, report part, one simple thing that is very common, I suppose, but is worth mentioning at this time. Supposing, especially in countries where the electricity power is not that dependable, while taking a test, the electricity goes off. What happened to the test? In a 30-item test, he attempted 20 and 10 is still there. Our system records every item that he submits, it is recorded. So even if he has completed 20 out of 30 questions and the light goes off, next time whenever he logs in, he will see all the 20 questions pre-attempted, he starts from 21. So that is also there, feature already built there. And so many other features. That's why, we have been in this assessment game for last 3 decades. So all that feedback that has come to us from our students and teachers and institutions, we have been embedding those features in the system. As a result, it is now almost surpasses that anybody else offers in terms of the features of the system and assessment. The last part of my presentation is the LMS. Brief overview, I won't take too much time on that. This is our home page. The usual login process in any system. The email of the user, instructor or a student or the administrator. System recognizes from the email the role of the user. And password by default, everybody we give welcome as the password. Once you log in, you can change anything that you enter right here, especially the password you can change. So, once you log in, this teacher's login page. All the courses that the teacher is assigned by EducaSoft to the institution and to the teacher, they are listed here. This is the calendar, link to send email to the students, announcement coming from the seniors. You select a class, you are in the class roster page. The whole class, their names, their email IDs, their logins, individualized report of each and every student. So you can click on this and send an email, or click on this, or click on attendance and take attendance, all recorded automatically and saved. And if you click on the student's name, you will have all the assessment of that student listed. You can increase the maximum attempts, you can extend the done date, you can see his score, what he's performed, everything, all the assessment that he has. Go back to the roster page. So all learning management system features are just in one row over there. Tools, upload syllabus, gradebook, very powerful, very powerful. You can have unlimited number of evaluations, and any way you define the grading system. Import master section is a concept that we have introduced to maintain the pace of instruction and standard of evaluation across multiple sections of a course. within the school or in the school district or in the entire country. You can control that. My notes, you can add your own content and so on, or your videos. Survey, to get feedback from the students all the time. Class attendance. Lecture notes, what you saw before, is basically a table of content. I explained to you how it is organized. And then tutorial marking feature, course schedule, you can all control. How you want to deliver the course, you can all control. If some topic you are not covering in the course, you can delete that content by just deactivating it, and so on. Next is assessment. This is a list of all the assessments and a lot of features on the assessment page. Create the same process that I explained to you before, basically. Set parameters, select topics, select questions, and save. The same that I explained to you before. Very easy to create. Go back to assessment. And a lot of features. View, create, see the scores of the whole class, import assessment from previous class or previous term, and so on. You can print even those assessments that students have already submitted. You can print any student's assessment anytime with what he answered and his grade, and right in front of you. The students also have an access to that on their own, and teacher has access to all the students. Dropbox is used for languages, for essay writing, and so on. Valuation flowchart. Next is reports. I explained to you different kinds of reports. Next is resources, glossary, documents, web links, exam papers, and so on. Communication tools, internal emails, announcement, discussion forum, study groups, queries and chats, and even whiteboard for online courses. All that is embedded only if requested by the institution. User management, lot of control factors. We can add any student as a guest without them paying anything for 15 days. Transfer student from one section to the other. Assign teaching assistant to help you in class. My preferences, you control what a student should see and what they cannot see. You can control that. You can modify your profile, your email and password. You can add yourself as a student, my account number, and you can set the videos. Some videos which you don't like, you can deactivate them. It's all your control. And support and frequently asked questions is as it says. Support from EDUCAU and frequently asked question. Whatever any student has asked any question, appropriate response is already there. You can print it or view it on the screen. Next is when a student logs in, what does he see? This is when a student logs in. All the activities, student can click on syllabus, view it on the screen or print it. They can see the tutorials, the same as the teacher's lecture notes. They can complete the assessments, as I demonstrated before. Dropbox, if they have a writing assignment from the teacher. My grade, they can click on my grade anytime. So you will have homework for final, total is 2, weightage is 10%, homework, midterm quizzes, his overall grade at this time is this, and how it is computed is also written there. Okay, P. And you can see the details of his progress report, the date when he completed, at what time, how many times he attempted, what was his score, and so on and on. All these things are available to the student for himself or herself, and to the teacher for every student. And then of course activity report and bookmark. While studying the tutorial, you can mark where you were, and later on you can come back and start from where you left. After that, communication tools, my account and survey. So this is in general the announcement that the students see when they log in from their teacher, and so on. This is, my friend, in brief. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope I was able to explain the primary components of EDUCAUSOFT, the content, the assessment, reporting, and LMS in brief. I have rushed up because I didn't want to extend the time too much, because I hope I got the message clear to you, and I look forward to see you sometimes in future in face-to-face, if God willing, if we have the opportunity. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Bye-bye.